Hi, everyone. My name is Mindy, and I am an alcoholic. Hi. I want to thank Keith Thomas for asking me to speak and for not reminding me that I had to speak today. Again, thank you. This is a real privilege and an honor to be able to share my story. And Sean, thank you for your 10 minutes. Oh my God. So it hit me so much. Well, okay, he started my story. I grew up in San Diego. Okay, there you go. So my story has a lot of I didn't know. I always want to start with that because I didn't know alcoholism was a thing. I didn't know that that it manifests in your mind. It centers in your mind. I'll take it back to the beginning. I grew up in San Diego. I grew up in a very loving, dysfunctional family, but very loving. Let me preface that. But we didn't know any other way of life. My father, we don't proclaim anybody an alcoholic, but let's just say my dad had his tendency. But being a good Mexican man, they were entitled. You know, Mexican men can drink all they want, they can carouse, and it's an attaboy. So it wasn't questioned. I grew up in a large family, well, in today's world. I'm the fifth of 7, and we had the best childhood. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't know it. We had a lot of love. We had a lot of laughter. We had the outdoors. We went outside and played, and it was beautiful. I had my first drink. I want to say I was 15, if not shy of 15. And it was only because my brothers, who, were older, would have parties. And my mom would, my dad had already taken off, because that's what, when you start drinking, that's what you do. And my mom was out with my aunts, and they were having a gathering. And I smuggled 3 of their beers into my room because I wanted to know what this was all about. And 3 beers later, I had a blackout. I woke up and I couldn't remember. And I go, is this what it's all about? I blacked out. That wasn't fun. Why are they having fun? My next drink, I was 17, and a cousin of mine brought a bottle of wine, and between my cousin, my mom, myself, and it could have been somebody else, we drank the whole bottle of wine. I blacked out again. And I'm like, not seeing it. So it was sporadic for me. When I turned 18, our neighbors across the street, my neighbor Andy, across the street, San Diego police, he came over to our house with a bottle of Brass Monkey. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it since then, so don't ask me. And again, there was a few of us there. I blacked out. I was done. It wasn't fun. And I wanted to go to college because even though I had a very loving family, it was a very strict household where, girls don't go out and we're ladies and we have to do the right thing and all that. So I wanted to go away to college. My brother was attending UNLV, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to UCSB. And he goes, no, come here. You know, we're all here, we'll all support you, we'll have fun. And I did. And that was, I didn't turn 21 for a bit, but once I did, it was like Girls Gone Wild. Yep, it was me. And yes, for those of you who have been here for a while, you could have found me at Botany's, at Sharks, you know, at all the places. And, but oddly enough, I wasn't drinking to a blackout. So I thought, well, maybe I outgrew that. I didn't know. I was going to school full-time, I was working full-time, and I was partying full-time. And it shocked me the first time that I think I was at the brewery, and I walked out, and it's daylight. What? I didn't know. And what I know now is the cycle of our disease. We start off and it's so much fun. And then we hit the curve and it's fun with some problems. We pass that curve, it's more problems than it's fun. At the end, it's almost no fun. And the party's over, except that I didn't get the memo. You know, so my Girls Gone Wild went from 21 to 23. I knew I had to settle down because I was failing college. So I had to buckle down. And I started studying a lot. I went to a lot of study groups. And for the exam, we had polished it, you know, we had it down to a science. It was political science, you know, and I was being their tutor. And since we all were answering all the questions, we go, hey, let's go have lunch so we'll be ready for the test. Across the street from UNLV, back then, I think there was a Pizza Hut. Anyway, so we had pizza, and then we ordered beers. By the time we were done, it was like 3 pictures later, and we realized we were late to the exam, the final exam. And by the time I sat down, I froze. I failed the class that I was basically helping everybody else pass. But luckily for me, the instructor for the political science class was hired by Saks Fifth Avenue to be part of their human resource. And she goes, Mindy, I need you to come with me because you're bilingual and we have a lot of high rollers. And yeah, okay. I go, okay. And I was doing that full time. Again, still trying to manage and keep things together. At school and partying full time. You know the story? The school got in the way of the partying, so that had to go. I had my first DUI at 24. Yes, I qualify. And again, in a blackout. And I just didn't know a lot. Then I was done. No more, Girls Gone Wild. I met him, and we actually had a good life. I had been recruited by the Foot Locker Corporation, and we were making a lot of money. We were partying, but it was manageable. And no more school, no more partying, just working and moving along. My disease, when we say it's cunning, baffling, and powerful, mine was ever so patient. Because I was, a functional alcoholic. I would sometimes, leave work, and I couldn't wait just to get a beer. And I would buy 2 and just drink it, because beer was my thing. So I can't be an alcoholic, because he had a full wet bar stocked with some of the best liquor. Didn't want it. I like my beer. I like the way it tastes. And that went on for a long time, and no consequences, no more blackouts, no more anything. So, I'm cured, right? We got married, we had our first child, and I wasn't drinking during the pregnancy, I wasn't drinking during breastfeeding or anything, but all of a sudden, as I'm getting close to not breastfeeding, the ism comes in and I couldn't wait to drink. And so it progressed from there. I wouldn't go to the nightclubs that I used to be, VIP at, because now I'm a mom. I'm, a respectable woman. So I would go home and get drunk at home. It doesn't matter how much we drink, where we drink, how often we drink. It just matters what it does to what it happens to us once we drink. And that was my obsession. It was all centered around there. Like my father, because now I could go back, my father could be a fallen down drunk, but he was taking a shower at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, and then going to work. He wouldn't skip a beat. So I go, I can do that. Then I had my second child, and by this time our marriage was falling apart. And I couldn't wait. Just when he said, we're getting divorced, I go, really? No, I'm kidding. And it was my ticket to chase my disease. We had joint custody, but after about a year and a half, my mom was failing, her health was failing. I go, you know what? I need to go to San Diego to be with her. And I knew, today I knew, at the time I was lying to myself, that I just needed to get out to chase my disease. And I didn't want my kids to be drugged through the mud. And I did. I was in San Diego for 4 years, and then I met the other him, who was my drug dealer. Yeah. And that was an ugly rabbit hole. I wasn't exposed to that. It was just an ugly lifestyle. So I didn't last too long there. Luckily, I just go, no, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Kind of like what Sean was saying, that little voice said, you don't belong here. So I started going to recovery homes in San Diego. One of them was an outpatient in Chula Vista, and it was all court-ordered, and everybody was there court-ordered if they wanted to stay out of jail. Myself and another person there, another young lady, she and I were volunteers, and they looked at us like we had two heads, like, why are you even here? And I know for a fact now that I could tell you I was hiding. I was buying time to get the heat off me. But what I learned there too didn't fall off. It didn't go to waste. I had a great counselor, Mr. Larry, who taught me a lot about, motives. He, using words, like, Mindy, I need you to look up reservation, because you have to have no reservation. And I would use the Oxford English Dictionary, because that's pretty damn intense. And reservation means an appointment for later. And I go, when you make a reservation at a restaurant, you intend to go there, And I go, that's what, I thought it was hesitation, reservation. No, you're making an appointment to go there later. So I graduated that program with honors. Everybody was happy. I got the heat off my back. Within a month, I was living the double life. I'd tell my parents I'm going to a meeting, and I'd be meeting up to, get what I needed to get so I could feel or not feel. I'm just going back there. It got so bad with alcohol that I was drinking around the clock, and I was on my family's watch list. They wouldn't even let me go to the bathroom by myself because I was, again, we're great manipulators. I would, since I couldn't have a bottle where they could see it, I would buy a bunch of little bottles and stuff it everywhere. And when I'd go to the restroom, swig it, or go change, swig. So here's the thing. My sister said, one of my sisters, her son was wrestling at the California State Wrestling Championship. And she goes, I can't stay here watching you. You need to go with us. I was 3 sheets to the wind, and I must have carried it real good. But by the time I got there and I had a few more little bottles, I OD'd. My sister was mortified. My nephew was so worried because I was his favorite aunt, and yet also mortified because he's a 17-year-old, and his drunk aunt just put that wrestling championship to a stall. And so they called the paramedics. They brought me they took me to the hospital. And there at the hospital, they were so kind. You have a problem, you have a disease, there's an answer, here's a big book, call someone. And, it's very kind. So when I left, now this is in Poway, which is real far from Chula Vista. I had a couple of dollars in my pocket. I'll take the bus because I know everybody's pissed off at me, and I don't want to make any calls because I don't want to hear it, kind of like you did all the way to the recovery center. And damn it, there was a liquor store that got in my way. Now, I forgot to tell you, I OD'd on 0.5. I should have been dead. That liquor store got in my way the next day. And I had not eaten anything. I was on IVs, got a bottle of vodka. By the time I got to the bus stop, I passed out. By the time I got back to the same hospital with a 0.3. This time they weren't so nice. They go, you don't want help, we can't help you. You need to get yourself together and get out. Well, I thought that was very rude. And this time they weren't going to let me leave until I called family. And of course, that ride all the way home was very uncomfortable. And the humiliation, how I scared them, and how selfish, self-centered we are. Long story short, after a while, I just finally got into recovery in San Diego. I finally had to get myself back to Las Vegas to be with my kids, to continue my recovery here. And from San Diego, I got on the computer and I found a job. They hired me because I clean up well, I get the good job, and I had all the intention to do so. I did. Except that I would go to meetings, and the meeting started at 7:01, 7:02, I'd walk in. And as soon as everybody was getting up to do the Lord's Prayer, I'd be out the door. And again, I didn't realize, I didn't know that I was setting myself up for a relapse. Because the relapse happens way before you take a first drink or a drug. And what else? after 13 months of sobriety, because I don't call it recovery. Recovery is when you're working the steps, you're in service, and you're doing, you know, taking the action. You know, a beer sounded good. And if I'm gonna have a beer, now I started looking for which one had the highest liquor or alcohol level. And I think it was 211, Reserve 211, two of them. And I was gone. I crashed my car. And, you know, I was going to lose my apartment. And my sponsor from San Diego and I had bought tickets to go to the Women's AA International here in Las Vegas at the Riviera in 2005. So she flew up here, I'm thinking, so we can attend this together. And she goes, no, I'm taking you to detox. Because everybody already knew I had fallen off. And I go, no, I'm going to I will detox there. And I was afraid that in order to stabilize me, they were going to have to jack me up with all kinds of pharmaceuticals, and I'm not a big fan. So I roughed it out with 4,000 screaming, beautiful, happy women. And there was nothing happy about my life. I wanted to shoot them all. They were too loud, they were too pretty, they were too put together. Ugh. Ugh. And all I could do was rock myself back and forth, back and forth. And my sponsor, Kim, was very kind, trying to find people with a Las Vegas tag, because they were, like I said, they were from all over the world: Korea, South Africa, South America, Canada, Mexico, Europe. And she wasn't having a lot of luck. But she was finding women from Colorado. I remember a couple of them sitting with me. And then she goes, I gotta go. I just came here to take you to detox. You don't wanna go. I have commitments at home. I have to go. And I go, that's rude again. And as she drove off and the tears were falling, going back to the Riviera, if anybody remembers, going back to the convention center is that way, and the bars were that way. And I don't know about you, but when it came to drinking in bars, I was still, and they were magnet, and I was being pulled that way. And it took everything in my power to walk back in. And I remember that couple of days before that, I had begged God for help. I had begged God for help me. And I walked back in. The lady at the information, I remember grabbing her hand so tight and letting her know, I need help or I'm gonna drink now. And I think I scared her, because there were these two young ladies walking by, and she goes, come here, I need your help. And she goes, I need you to take her wherever you're going. She wanted to get rid of me because I scared her. Anyway, and they were going to the old timers meeting. Back then, old timers were 20 years and above, and it was all the way upstairs. There was two of them. One sat with me as I rocked myself because I was ready to run. I was ready to run. And the other one kept looking around the room trying to find Las Vegas tag. And if it's odd, it's God. She found a lady with a Las Vegas tag. Her name was Lynn Titan. She was the director of We Care Recovery Home for Women. And she came to me and she looked at me, she goes, are you done? And she had a foul mouth. Are you fucking done? And at that point, I would say anything you want so I can get there, you know? And I go, yeah. And she goes, then meet me at We Care Monday morning. Now, mind you, this is Saturday night. That's a lot of time in between. But, you know, I was that caged animal. And by the grace of God, I managed to pull it through. And I got to We Care. And what happened for me is that I was finally the gift of desperation. That was my first God, by the way. G-O-D, the gift of desperation was my first God that I could relate to. Because, I came in convinced that God didn't like girls like me. So it wasn't God that turned his back on me. I turned my back on God. But I kept praying and praying, and lo and behold, I had no money. And she goes, "You're going to pay an installment, and I'm going to hold your feet to the fire." And I go, "Okay." But what I learned there was that it wasn't a weakness, because everybody kept telling me, "You're the strongest person you know. Come on, you can do it." But I didn't realize I had lost the power of choice. I could not drink. You get to that hopeless point, but you get to surrender if you're ready. And I didn't know if I was ready, but I wanted to be ready. I wanted so badly to be ready. And I heard things like, "You're not a bad person, you're a sick person." It's not a weakness. It's you are allergic to alcohol, that once you put, any substance into your body, all bets are off. You have an allergic reaction, and I can't tell you how I'm going to end up. And I wasn't a very nice person. Not a nice person. You could ask my ex-husband, he'll tell you. There I got to see other people just like me. I didn't know anybody like me. Okay, couple of things. I'm one of 3 girls in my family, my sisters. They both married their high school sweetheart. They both still love their husband. They still both hold hands with their husband. And I go, "What's wrong with you?" They have never been arrested. I think they might have gotten, even to this date, maybe a speeding ticket. That's it. And I'm like, what? And at first I would say, "What's wrong with you?" And then as I got, "What's wrong with me?" I was the black sheep. And, but like I said, at We Care, I love the toughness. I love that they didn't co-sign my bullshit. They didn't let me manipulate. They pulled my covers, but they loved me. There was a couple of old timers. Okay, and I always tell her I use her name. So Jamie Q, when I was doing my victim role, because I was really good about, if you had the life I had. And I would say I could forgive everyone, but I don't know if I could forgive myself, because now I'm sober and I could see the damage and the wreckage that I have caused. I don't know if I could forgive myself. And now, knowing that I didn't smoke, she was smoking. The ashtray was there, and she put off her cigarette right in front of my face and said, "God has already forgiven you. So who the fuck are you not to forgive yourself?" I go, whoa. These women are rude. But they told me the truth. And every time somebody just slapped me with the truth, I would go into my room and journal to see what was on the other side of what their statement was. I didn't want to be a victim. Because victims don't recover. So if I am going to be a victor, I better get into this program that's working for everyone. Again, I was convinced that it was going to work for you, but not me, because I'm special. But then all of a sudden, I started seeing the dead eyes in the We Care table at 6th and St. Louis at the One World group. And all of a sudden, there's a spark in somebody's eye. And that guy from that other recovery, all of a sudden, he's cleaning up. And this person already got a job. And she got her driver's license. Oh, my God, it's happening. And I mean, I still get the chills because that's when I realized, hey, maybe it could happen for me. You know, and it did. I've completed the program of We Care. I don't like the word graduated because we never graduate. I'm so grateful for the 12 steps here that transform me into the person that I am today. Step 1 is the only one that deals with alcohol. 2 to 12 is the solution to the problem with Mindy. Okay? That's the transformation. And when we get to be of service, it's a royal pain, and you know what? And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever done. I try to stay very active in AA because, you know, I owe. So I do. And as long as I stay in the herd, I can do that. And Mr. Keith Thomas. So Mr. Keith Thomas and his buddy, it was David, right? They had a bet when I was in We Care, and they said, overs and under, she's not gonna make it. Keith bet against me. She's not gonna make it. I was a hot mess. So I showed you. But because of that, okay, because of all of this is what restored me to a little bit of sanity. Okay, this is what keeps us all working well in the sandbox. And then the 12th concept is what keeps AA worldwide going. And I'm a late bloomer too to the general service because I was a mother of 2. I had a full-time job. My sponsor kept me very busy, and then she had the nerve to die on me, which I still have a resentment. Just kidding. I miss her. When I turned 5, she had lung cancer. She smoked like a chimney, and she passed away. But the teachings that she left me, I still carry, and I share it with all my sponsees because I'm not that smart. I'm not that good. But I can carry the message that others have freely shared with me. And that's all I can do. And get into the big book. It's a design for living. The answers are in there. You have a problem with the wife, you have a problem with the meeting, it's in there. You know, if you don't know which page it is, just see me, I'll tell you where it's at. You have, somebody invited you to go to a wedding where there's alcohol flying. There's a page for that in the book. You know, be armed with the facts of your disease. We're here, we have a deadly, deadly disease that demands to be treated with drugs and alcohol or a stronger program of action. You sit on the fence, and that's where we blow our brains out, and it happens a lot. So it's a choice, and every day I choose recovery. Sobriety is not enough, because if I wasn't having a good time, if I didn't have a purpose-driven life, it wouldn't be enough. And today, this program gives me that. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. We Care, the recovery home for women that is going to be celebrating 65 years of being in business and helping women, transforming lives. We'll be celebrating 65 years next year. And I went from being a hot mess to gradually becoming a house mom there. And now I sit at the board of directors for the house that we want to keep that doors open for those who aren't even born yet. They're coming. And we have to keep AA going. We have to keep sharing this program. You know, if I don't give back, you know, I'm being selfish. I'm keeping it all to myself. but I also am now that my kids are all grown, I have become a service junkie, not just at my group meeting, but at the district meeting, at district level, intergroup level. Go to Tonopah, try to make myself available wherever I can. And I come to speak even when I only get an hour's notice, Mr. Thomas. But, you know, and I think somebody said, I think you said it, you have a life beyond your wildest dream. Well, not me, because you don't know how wild my dreams are. I'd be jet setting around the world, sir. But it's far better than it used to be. You know, when my father died, I was a little over 5 years sober, and I put my 5-year chip in him, and I go, Dad, it's okay. You can go. You did the best you could. Your little girl's gonna be okay. And my dad loved me, and he loved my alcoholism because he saw it. It was in him. He could see him. And he protected me so much, and he tried to help me so much. And then when my mom passed away, 10 years sober, did the same thing. Put that 10-year chip, Mom, it's okay. You did the best you could, and that's what we do here. You know, and just to share, I'm gonna share with a little bit of humor, because you know, as you could tell, I like humor. I think that alcoholics, that's why we laugh at everything, because if we don't laugh, we cry. But you know, the only reason AA works is because we're not all crazy on the same day. So therefore, we can help each other out. And if you're new or contemplating being new, you know, please stay. It's so much easier to stay than to start all over again. You know, the suggestions are free. The non-compliance you will pay for. Thank you for letting me share.